Do you think subsidies are necessary?
सब्सिडी हमें ऐसा लगने लग गया कि जैसे हम किसी को खैरात दे रहे हैं. खैरात नहीं है ये. फार्मर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इज द बिगेस्ट एंटरप्रेन्योर. जितना रिस्क फार्मर लेता है उतना शायद ही कोई लेता.
बिल्कुल.
और वो रिस्क हर फसल पे लेता है. द फ्रेमवर्क given to us by the green revolution, you just need to replicate that framework, build institutions, bring about policy changes, create infrastructure. That's it. Today we face the problem of burning of paddy stubble. If we are able to get the farmer an extra income from that paddy stubble, only then he will not put a matchstick to it. Trust me, in the evening when I came back to my hotel in Badmer and was taking a shower, I was feeling guilty that we tend to waste water so much. But look at those people who are struggling with every single drop of water.
Welcome to the CIPT Podcast, a podcast where we discuss about water governance and agriculture sustainability. In this podcast, we are going to feature people who have worked tirelessly in their lives in order to make agriculture and water practices sustainable again. Centers for International Projects Trust was established 17 years ago by the Columbia Water Center of Columbia University. And since then, it has been working at the intersection of research, development, and grassroots implementation. Over the years, it has impacted the lives of thousands of farmers by providing them the right information and connecting them with experts. It is now focusing on improving water use efficiency, sustainable water savings, farmer well-being by improving income, and building a water-efficient agriculture model across Punjab. This podcast is an attempt to ask important questions and find some answers. To do that, we have our first guest today, Anirudh Tewari, who is the Director General of MGSIPA, where we are sitting in right now. So you have an illustrious career. You've worked with public policy, you've been in governance, you are an IS yourself from the 1990 batch, if I'm not wrong. And you've worked extensively on sustainable agriculture as well. So I really want to pick your brains today. I want to understand what exactly goes behind planning and making sure that agriculture becomes sustainable again. And thank you for giving us your time and the place to shoot here.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
Do you think subsidies are necessary?
Subsidies, over a period of time, people have started looking at it from a very different perspective. सब्सिडीज देखिए बड़ी सिंपल सी बात है. हम परिवार में भी रहते हैं, घर में भी होते हैं, तो कई बार अगर 4 भाई हों, 3 भाई हों, तो सभी भाई तो बराबर की उसमें नहीं होता. किसी का स्किल सेट डिफरेंट होता है. कोई पढ़ाई में अच्छा रहा हो जाता है, किसी का बिजनेस सेंस अच्छा होता है, कोई अच्छा कर जाता है, कोई थोड़ा पीछे भी रह जाता है. और जो फादर होता है फिर उसकी कोशिश क्या रहती है कि मैं जो पीछे रह गया उसको भी मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा सपोर्ट करता रहूँ. तो अक्सर आपने देखा होगा कि हमारे सिस्टम में एक ये भी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग सी बात रहती है कि जो पेरेंट्स होते हैं वो हमेशा उस बच्चे के साथ रहते हैं जो थोड़ा पीछे रह जाता है,
वीक होते हैं.
उसका एक एस्पेक्ट ये होता है कि उसको सपोर्ट करना है मेंटली भी और उसको फाइनेंशियली भी. Subsidies, to my mind, are just a kind of support that the government of a welfare state gives to those citizens who have, slightly lagged behind. कि आप इनको थोड़ी फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट दे दो ताकि ये भी अपना ऊपर आ जाएं आपके साथ. अब देखिए वो डिपेंड करता है, कभी किसी को आप सब्सिडी बोल देते हो, अगर कोई और नाम देना हो तो उसमें फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट, बेल आउट पैकेज हो जाता है. किसी के लिए बेल आउट पैकेज होता है, किसी के लिए सब्सिडी हो जाती है. बात वही है अल्टीमेटली. ठीक है, तो सब्सिडी हमें ऐसा शुरू लगने लग गया कि जैसे हम किसी को खैरात दे रहे हैं. खैरात नहीं है ये. It's not charity. It is every person's right. So people who have not been able to, come to the same level, subsidies are just our way, our endeavor as a government to help them reach that level.
Correct.
So subsidies per se are not. And subsidies all over the world are given by governments, even in West. Governments agriculture को भी subsidies देती हैं. रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को बहुत सब्सिडी दे रही हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल कई बार बिजनेसेस को हम सब्सिडी देते हैं.
करेक्ट.
वो देते हैं कि बिजनेसेस में जैसे कोई आपने नया बिजनेस शुरू किया उसमें रिस्क बहुत है. जैसे सपोज आज इफ द गवर्नमेंट वांट्स टू एनकरेज पीपल फॉर लेट्स से बिल्डिंग दोज स्मॉल मॉड्यूलर न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर्स, एक रिस्की बिजनेस वेंचर है. अगर कोई एंटरप्रेन्योर उसमें जाना चाहता है तो सरकार उसको सपोर्ट करेगी. कई तरीके से करती है। अब जैसे हम एक्सेलेटर्स लगाते हैं, सरकार के और सपोर्ट सिस्टम होता है जो हम इकोसिस्टम के लिए भी करते हैं। कई बार हम टैक्स वेवर्स भी करते हैं, टैक्स डेफरमेंट भी कर देते हैं। सो ऑल दीज अल्टीमेटली वुड count as subsidies. Subsidies just means helping out people. And to my mind, subsidies would be an integrated part of of a welfare state. They should also be there. The key question is that जिसको ज़रूरत है उसको मिलना चाहिए, टारगेटेड होनी चाहिए, और उतना ही होना चाहिए जितनी ज़रूरत है.
Correct.
कई बार ये हो जाता है that the targeting is not what it appropriately should be. तो और बड़ी सिंपल सी बात है, केक तो नहीं है. अगर वो भी ले जाएगा जिसको ज़रूरत नहीं है, तो जिसको ज़रूरत है वो रह जाएगा.
सर आपको लगता है ये पॉलिसी लेवल पे ये मिस्टेक होती है या फिर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन लेवल पे होती है?
दोनों है. कई बार डिज़ाइन में भी हो जाती है और कई बार इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में भी हो जाती है.
करेक्ट. सब्सिडीज़ के साथ क्रेडिट की भी बात कर लेते हैं, एंड क्रेडिट इज समथिंग दैट इज प्रेवलेंट इन एग्रीकल्चर एज वेल. व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चरल लोन, एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट दैट दिस कंट्री हैज़ हैड इन द पास्ट? एंड अगर देखा जाए तो एग्रीकल्चर इज समथिंग वेयर न्यूज़पेपर्स आर फिल्ड विथ पीपल नॉट बीइंग एबल टू गिव बैक देयर loans and give back their credits that they have had, and there's a lot of distress that they also go through. Do you think we have measures for these farmers which are watertight so that they feel that they're part of the system and they can borrow as much as they need or want for a better yield?
My first exposure to agriculture in the country was when I was the country head for International Fund for Agriculture Development, which is a UN agency, and that gave me an opportunity to meet and interact with small farmers almost all of the country. I mean, I went to Northeast, I was working in Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, almost the entire country. And that exposed me to the challenges that these farmers face, including access to credit. And then when I worked in Punjab, the problem was of a different dimension, where we were struggling with the huge indebtedness that the farmers have. And as a result, we also had this huge tragedy called farmer suicides. And the government was also grappling with that. It was a huge social problem. Now, farmers' indebtedness, especially in a state where you have huge mechanization of agriculture, is itself a problem. Over the years, the governments have tried to ameliorate it. The government has tried to help the farmers get out of it. But I am not sure that we have been able to get a proper grasp on this issue. Another point that I always like to underline is that a lot of times people talk about private investment in agriculture and investments in agriculture. To my mind, farmer, first of all, is the biggest entrepreneur.
Yeah.
जितना रिस्क फार्मर लेता है उतना शायद ही कोई लेता.
बिल्कुल.
और वो रिस्क हर फसल पे लेता है. जब वो फसल अपनी बीजता है तो उसको ये नहीं पता कि हाउ द वेदर गॉड्स आर गोइंग टू डील विद इट. अभी हम देख रहे हैं हाउ दैट इज गोइंग टू पैन आउट. वी आर नॉट श्योर अबाउट हाउ द मार्केट इज गोइंग टू पैन आउट, स्पेशली जब हम वेजिटेबल्स की बात करते हैं. फार्मर कीप्स ऑन इन्वेस्टिंग इन हिज लैंड. वो फर्टिलाइजर भी डालता है, पेस्टिसाइड भी डालता है, वो कंटिन्यूस इंप्रूवमेंट कोशिश करता है कि कंटिन्यूस इंप्रूव, बिकॉज द फार्मर वांट्स टू इंक्रीज द प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ हिज लैंड. राइट. अब उसका एंडेवर है प्रोडक्टिविटी इंक्रीज करने का. उसके जो कोलैटरल चैलेंजेस आते हैं उसको in terms of whether the water table goes down or whether the soil fertility is impacted or the pest management actually becomes more difficult. Those are those collateral issues that emerge for him. But to my mind, the challenge before India and in agriculture is that our growth rate in agriculture has still not been able to breach that, mark that exists. And after the Green Revolution, which took care of at least our food security issues, our farmer has not been able to reach those levels of prosperity as we would like them to achieve. And especially if you look at a state like Punjab, I think for a long time Punjab has been the food bowl of this country. But today perhaps when I say that other parts of the country have also started contributing to the central pool, including states like UP and Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh for wheat, and East India, which is Odisha, Bihar, Bengal, others for rice. Perhaps Punjab needs to rejig its cropping pattern. And we have been talking about it, that we need to sort of move very quickly onto other diversified crops, especially horticulture. To my mind, whenever you wish to bring about change in the society, or the government wants to bring in change, there are a couple of elements to it. Bring about change. Of course, people are important. Policy is important. But another important thing is, and you mentioned about finance, another important point to my mind is our institutions.
Yeah.
Institutions are very, very important.
Absolutely.
Green revolution came to this part of the country primarily because there were certain institutions that were created. The Punjab Agriculture University was created, which really then this whole institution of marketing board, which helped public procurement, that became a very, very important element. The Food Corporation of India, that carried out public procurement. So these institutions which supported green revolution were very, very important. Of course, policies including the MSP and public procurement contributed a lot. Of course, building of Bhakra Dam infrastructure, whether it was roads or canal networks, was very important. Punjab also carried out policy reforms in terms of consolidation of land holdings. All these factors did contribute to bring about green revolution. Similarly, today, if you wish to diversify, we just need to look at this. I mean, a lot of times people say that crop diversification. My question always is, how do we do it? And to my mind, the framework was given to us by the Green Revolution. You just need to replicate that framework. The framework is the same, which means build institutions, bring about policy changes, create infrastructure. That's it. And people will do it.
The Punjab State Agricultural Policy came in 2023. Have you read through it? Were you part of it? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this particular report that came out actually brought together all the points that you just mentioned?
Well, first of all, I have read the policy, and the policy it's a beautiful document, and a great effort has been made by the people who were associated in drafting it. I was not, and certainly they have highlighted all the points that we are talking about. But finally, it comes down to diversification, and diversification in crop diversification in Punjab is extremely important. Punjab is water.
Yeah.
Water itself is now scarce. We have surface water, but we are depleting our groundwater heavily.
Yeah.
And to my mind, water management and using water efficiently in Punjab is very, very important for us to have sustainable agriculture for future. Efforts are being made by government, efforts are being by institutions like CIPT, for example. The Center for International Projects Trust. I remember working with this organization when I was Additional Chief Secretary Agriculture. We did a beautiful pilot in Amritsar district where IoT sensors were used. We were using water very, very carefully. And this pilot was very, very successful. We were able to demonstrate that using these sensors, you can actually reduce water consumption by 25 to 30%, which was great. The endeavor has to be to put an additional rupee in the farmer's pocket at every available opportunity. In Punjab, two main crops, wheat and paddy. The wheat stubble is used as animal fodder. It also sells. So the farmer who is not having his own animals sells that in the market and earns money out of the stubble, the waste. He is getting money for his grain by selling it to the government under the at MSP, but he is also getting an additional money for the stubble, wheat stubble that he's getting. Similarly, to my mind, today we face the problem of burning of paddy stubble. If we are able to get the farmer an extra income from that paddy stubble, only then he will not put a matchstick to it.
Correct.
If we are able to strengthen those supply chains which pick up the stubble and there is an end use of this stubble in the industry, whether it is for ethanol, whether it is for compressed biogas, it is for power, or it is for plywood industry or anywhere, that would add an additional income to the farmer. That is what is called ex-situ management of stubble. Punjab Agriculture University also talks of in-situ management, where the government gives subsidized machinery to incorporate the stubble. I even advocate that, because what that does is it increases the soil's fertility, which in turn may not be a direct monetization to the farmer straight away now, but over a period of time, it increases the carbon in the soil, it increases its productivity, which probably the next crop or the next crop would be received by the farmers as an extra income. So that's this kind of sustainable agriculture and an extra income that probably we should be looking at to give them.
So I want to understand from you that there is always two sides of the coin. In order to make sure that we don't burn stubble, we have to make sure that the farmer gets his land as fast as possible, because then he has to get ready for the next cycle, right? And there is this dichotomy that works. Like, if we look for small-term solution, you're hampering the environment. If you're looking for long-term solutions, you're hampering the person who is, actually doing it. So how do we solve this philosophical question, in your opinion?
Wheat in Punjab gets harvested around the mid of April, or by the end of April or first week of May. Now, what would happen earlier is that after some time, the farmer would transplant paddy, and paddy was being transplanted, using flood irrigation, sometimes by the end of May or so. And that would be what is called a Pusa 44 variety, which was a long duration variety, but had high productivity. That was the most popular variety. It would be about 150 days or so. So 150 days is like close to 4 months. So you're looking at June, July, August, September. And so around the early part of October, the farmer would harvest. And then the farmer would try to plant the wheat in about mid of November or around that. There are 2 points which you must understand here. First of all is, the farmer wants to plant his wheat by the mid of November, because जितना उसको वो पीछे लेके जाएगा उतनी उसकी वीट की प्रोडक्टिविटी कम होती है. तो फार्मर को बड़ी जल्दी होती है पैडी के बाद अपनी वीट लगाने के लिए. सो फार्मर डज नॉट वांट टू पुश सोइंग वीट बियॉन्ड द 15th of November, बिकॉज उसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी फिर डाउन होनी शुरू हो जाती है. सो दैट इज वन कंस्ट्रेंट टू द फार्मर. द सेकेंड इज दैट पैडी स्टबल लेफ्ट ऑन इट्स ओन takes about 45 to 50 days or even sometimes even more to get incorporated in the soil, अगर मैं उसको वैसे ही छोड़ दूँ. So if I have 45 to 50 days, after I have harvested paddy, I just flood it and leave it in to sort of get incorporated and decompose on its own, then take that much of time. Farmer के पास इतना time नहीं होता. उसकी वजह एक और क्या हो गई? Law, which prohibits a farmer from transplanting it before the 1st of July. Sometimes by under popular pressure, government prepones it to 15th of June or 20th of June, depending on what is the kind of situation. But the endeavor was to push this transplantation date as close to monsoon, because the monsoon hits Delhi on about the first week of July, 4th of July or something, and lands in Punjab around the 7th or 8th of July. So the objective was to push transplanting as close to the monsoon, so that to catch the natural water rather than pump out groundwater. उस केस में क्या हुआ कि the harvesting gets pushed towards late October and this thing. So it's a catch-22 situation, as we realized. If I'm saving groundwater, I am, hit by the air pollution problem. If I try to take care of that, then I have to look, then I'm hit by this. So what is the solution? The solution is twofold. One is we look at varieties that are short duration varieties. And PAU has been working very hard on it. PR126 is one variety which is becoming very popular. Yeah. It is less than 120 days. That is 110 days probably, 110 to 115 days. That's one variety that can be looked at. So first of all, you look at short duration varieties. And also these short duration varieties have less of stock. The stubble that they generate is also much lesser compared to what a Pusa 44 was generating.
Okay.
The second is, if you are incorporating using machines, then you can do it in less than 45 days. If I may give you a few numbers here, each acre of paddy generates about 25 quintals of paddy straw. 20 to 25. And it sells at about 200 rupees. So you are looking at about 5,000 rupees per acre extra to the farmer if it is collected and baled and sold to the industry. Then the farmer is looking at an additional revenue of about 5,000 rupees. Of course, there would be some cost to collecting it also, but the farmer can always work it out.
But sir, do we have enough machines to carry on with this work as early or as fast as the farmer would like it to be?
The government over the last 6, 7, 8 years, Government of India and the Government of Punjab have been providing subsidized machines at subsidy. And earlier the scheme used to be that if it's an individual farmer, he would get a 50% subsidy, and if it's a group of farmers, then it will be up to the extent of 80%. The thought of the government was that we would give as many machines to these group of farmers and the cooperative societies, which can be taken on lease by other farmers. So not everybody should own it, which is actually correct, because a lot of indebtedness of Punjabi farmers also because Punjabi farmers also like to own every single bit of machinery. To my mind, every year the problem is getting reduced in terms of its magnitude. Hopefully in the next couple of years we would have taken care of it completely.
The other big problem that Punjab faces, and I want to draw your attention to that, is definitely groundwater and the depletion of groundwater that is happening. Agriculture takes away a lot of this water because it's not as self-sustained or self-reliant as probably it was when the Green Revolution happened through all the resources that were available. At this rate, do we have anything left for industries and household use in the upcoming years in terms of groundwater availability for people?
You are right. I mean, groundwater is a serious challenge in Punjab, and if things don't improve or if we do not make efforts to take control of the situation, we could be staring at a very, very difficult scenario. As on date, groundwater, drinking water is available to the population, and what the government has also been doing is the government has been trying to develop as many as canal water-based drinking water schemes as possible. So even in big cities like Patiala, Ludhiana, canal water is being schemes are being set up to provide canal-based drinking water, which means we are using the water from the rivers through canals to take care of the drinking water. The second is for the industry. Yes, there are blocks where the state groundwater regulatory authority prohibits setting up of industry, or at least you have to take prior permission, demonstrate that this is the only site where your industry could be located, and then demonstrating how much of water you would be pumping out. To my mind, the solution really lies in not only crop diversification, but also in using the water efficiently for whatever we are cultivating right now. Which means that today paddy is being cultivated through flood irrigation in Punjab. I think now technologies are available, and again, if I may be allowed to say, CIPT has been working a lot on alternate wet and drying technology, where again considerably less amount of water is used. Direct seeding of rice, very, very popular, a technique which is gaining popularity over the days, by the day. And in this direct seeding of rice is seeded directly, and it has been demonstrated now that it leads to about 20% less consumption of water than flood irrigation. So if we are able to popularize direct seeding of rice, the government has been making a lot of efforts, and every year I see the acreage under direct seeding of rice increasing. If we are able to increase area under direct seeding of rice, if we are able to increase area under alternate wet and drying technique, and if we are able to diversify also from paddy, then over a period of time, Punjab's consumption of groundwater would come down, and we would probably be in a much better position.
At what point, sir, you realize that things have probably gone out of hand and the situation in Punjab is dire, and then these changes need to take place right now?
I remember doing a program and conceptualizing a program in the Vidarbha region of Maharashtra, which was, we started working with the families of those farmers, unfortunately, who had committed suicide after a failure of the cotton crop in those areas. The districts of Yavatmal, Amravati, those were the kind of areas that we were working in. That point of time, I realized that. And one incident that I never forget is we were working on, again, when I was in IFAD, we were working on a project in Rajasthan. And this was in a block in the Bardmer district. You know, today Bardmer is a hub of economic activity after oil has been, found in that area, and Kane Energy is working there. But at that time, it was not so. So I went to interact with the farmer's family, and the farmer's family was very nice. They served us very good food, you know. I remember the sangri ki sabzi and good roti, bajre ki roti. And after that, we were served food in what is called a kansi ke thali, and then they just sort of cleaned it up using sand. No water was used. And I was a bit surprised. And they said, well, we have scarcity of water. And I said, but what is your water source? So they took me to a point which is probably the lowest in that area, again, the watershed approach. And they said that this is what is called a tanka. It was an underground water tank which was covered with a lot of cactus. And they said a lot of times they use that water from the tanka for 2 years, almost. Trust me, in the evening when I came back to my hotel in Bardmer and was taking a shower, I was feeling guilty. That we tend to waste water so much, you know, whenever we are taking a shower or otherwise. But look at those people who are struggling with every single drop of water in those areas. That is when I realized that how scarce this water is going to be. And to my mind, a lot of these solutions lie in working towards sustainable agriculture, where we use every single resource efficiently, whether it is water, whether it is soil, whether it is the nutrients in the soil. Everything has to be used efficiently, and we try to give back to the soil every single nutrient that we take away. That is something that has to be the approach.
Sir, what I see is the only way possible is behavioral change, and behavioral change does happen over time. And you can probably make policy sitting at the AC room in your cubicle, but that might not have the implication on ground if you're not disseminating that information as to how that is valuable for the person that you're making it for, and if that person himself or herself sees the benefit of it. How long do you think this behavioral changes take? And in a country like India, do you think it's even possible to have that change?
Talking in the context of Punjab, I would say that the Punjabi farmer by nature is very enterprising and also like to experiment. He likes to experiment. He likes to look at new ventures. You bring out a new variety of seed, you bring out a new tool, a new machine, the farmer would like to have a look at it. I can't put a timeline saying that, okay, in 3 years or 5 years or 7 years or 10 years it will happen, but it will happen. The point is we have to start doing it. Already there are a lot of enterprising farmers who are diversifying from agriculture. We have a farmer in Sangrur district who has been involved in floriculture now for almost 30 years. And he has been exporting flower seeds to Europe for 30 years. And if you actually visit his fields, sometimes in March, when the flowers are in full bloom, end of spring, you'll be amazed. You'll think that you are probably somewhere in Netherlands. That was my reaction when I first visited his farm in 98, 99. And he's still continuing and he is increasing his acreage every year. He is then also sort of diversified in terms of geographical location. So what he realized is that if this is the season, flower season in this part of the country, he sort of staggered it, looking at other parts of the country, whether it is Bangalore or Himachal or Odisha. So he sort of covered it now. People have started growing strawberries, avocados, a lot of things are, being tested. And I also see a lot of farmers, enterprising farmers get into animal husbandry, piggery units, dairy units. Punjab is probably the highest milk producer in the country. And Punjab has a very vibrant cooperative sector. The Cooperative Milk Federation, Milkfed, under its brand name Verka, is doing extremely well, competing with Amul at a lot of places. So there are opportunities for farmers, and to my mind, these are areas where people would experiment, people would venture into, and there lies the solution.
And this is the last question that I would want to ask you. What keeps you optimistic about India?
It's our time, trust me. So look at it this way, that there was a time when India was, at the peak of its glory. We then saw times when we were invaded by people from the West, whether it was the Turks, the Afghans, or the Mongols from the north. And then, of course, the British came. And then the fulcrum, the epicenter of power, development, growth shifted to the West. Europe was the center. Post World War II, it shifted to North America. Going around, we come to East Asia, the Korea, the Taiwan, the China, the Southeast Asia. It comes to India, back to India. So the coming 50 years, to my mind, belong to India.
With that thought, thank you very much for giving us so much time today, talking about multitude of things that we talked about. It was an honor talking to you, and I would look forward to talk to you again.
Thank you, Paul. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much.
If you like this conversation, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. There are a lot of other videos that would come that will talk about agriculture, sustainable agriculture, livelihood of people. We will talk to experts. We will talk to people just like Anirudh, and we will talk to a lot of farmers as well in the future. So if you want to join us in making agriculture mainstream again, do subscribe.